This short video will demonstrate how a biblical text can be broken up into parts and analyzed so as to reveal the way those parts fit together to convey a message. From BibleWorks, I've copy-pasted the text of Ephesians 2, 1-10 to a Word document. I'm using the New American Standard Bible version because of its almost slavishly literal translation, which as a translation is problematic in many ways, but quite useful for this purpose. The first step is to locate appropriate points of division between the phrases of the text, making the divisions often enough to be helpful, but no more often than necessary. We could, in theory, make divisions between every word, or even right down to uncrossing T's and undotting I's, but there's no reason to carry an analysis beyond a level of diminishing returns. Where that level is for any particular text will frequently be a matter of opinion. So let's begin. And you were dead in your trespasses and sins, in which you formerly walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the air, of the spirit, now working in the sons of disobedience. So let's go back up here. We have, and you were dead. And then we are told in what ways we are dead. In your trespasses and sins, in which you formerly walked, according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, of the spirit that now now we've got two descriptors for the prince of the power of the air, so we'll call it the prince of the power of the air, of the spirit. Actually, no, let's rethink this. The prince of the power of the air is one descriptor, and the other descriptor is the spirit that is now working in the sons of disobedience. So we can make a break here. A new sentence. Among them, we too all formerly lived in the lusts of our flesh, indulging the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature children of wrath, even as the rest. So going back, among them, we too all, what did we do? Formerly lived in the lusts of our flesh. Indulging, so we formerly lived in the lusts of our flesh. We formerly lived indulging the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature children of wrath, even as the rest. The next sentence, but God, being rich in mercy, because of his great love with which he loved us, and so on, starts a brand new section within the passage. We're going to stop there and just deal with the material we've already analyzed. So I'm going to simply eliminate this and go back up here. So we've accomplished now the first step. And now that we've made those first level divisions between phrases, we can try to discern the relationships among them. We'll operate on the principle that phrases have a closer relationship to the other phrases adjacent to them than they do to phrases further away. That is, relationships typically do not jump over and ignore intervening phrases. We can use the tab key for indenting phrases under whatever they are related to, sometimes over, but that's not always the case. And you were dead. So we can ask the question, what does the next phrase tell us? It tells us in what sense you were dead. You were dead in your trespasses and sins. The next phrase, in which you formerly walked, tells us something about the trespasses and sins. Doesn't tell us directly about what the sense in which they were dead. So we can indent that under trespasses and sins. You were dead in your trespasses and sins, according to the course of this world. You were dead according to the prince of the power of the air. Or is this answering the question, how did you walk? Did you walk according to the course of this world? Did you walk according to the prince of the power of the air? Most likely. Here we have an example of the kind of question that this analysis conjures up. It forces us to ask how things are being expressed. It forces us to ask, what is the text really saying? What is being described by one phrase or another phrase? This helps us to see what the scripture is trying to teach us. Of the Spirit that is now working. So according to the Spirit, to the prince of the power of the air, of the Spirit that is now working in the sons of disobedience. So we have prince of the power of the air. Maybe we should make a break there. You can see how this is perpetually self-adjusting as you think through the text. According to the prince of the power of the air, according to the prince of the Spirit that is now working. Where is it working? In the sons of disobedience. Sons of disobedience. Among them, the sons of disobedience, we too. Here you can see that Paul has first been talking up here about you Gentiles, as the larger text makes clear. And now he's saying, we too, we Jews, all of us. Among them, the sons of disobedience, we Jews too, all formerly lived. How did we live? In the lusts of our flesh, indulging the desires of the flesh and of the mind. And we were by nature, so among them we too all formerly lived, and were by nature children of wrath, even as everyone else. Now that we've analyzed the way these things are related to internally, we could add, insert, for example, shapes like arrows. We could put an arrow here, or another one here, to point out the direction of the relationships. This could be done to great detail. But as we stand back, we can see the relationships now between the larger sections that are made up of smaller interrelated phrases. So here's one section. You were dead in your trespasses and sins. Here's another section. Among them, the sons of disobedience, we too, we Jews as well, formerly lived and were by nature children of wrath. So we see two larger sections. These, if we wanted to, we could indicate by inserting a shape like a, well, how about a bracket? And maybe another bracket for the next one. And then if we take into account the fact that the next verse, verse 4 down here that we just now eliminated, begins with, but God did something, we could say that these first two sections, these first two larger sections, go together to explain the situation that existed at a certain point before God intervened. So we can take another bracket, maybe this kind, and bracket those two sections together. And that way we begin to see graphically how the argument that Paul is making in Ephesians 2 begins to build itself. This is the advantage of doing a structural analysis.